Hey, everybody, it's Pete at the Meadville Tribune Sports Department. It's time for Sideline Confidential, number 12, the Jim Kelly episode, I was led to believe. Anybody else got a famous number 12, Matt, do you know of?
Number 12. I'm sure there's another one.
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Okay, it's a big quarterback number. Let's see where we at here. It's Monday, November 18th. We're recording kind of a day early this week for whatever reason, just to get it over with. And as usual, I'm joined. Actually, not as usual, because Matt, you weren't here last week. You missed it.
I was on vacation. I heard there was some stuff happening.
What do you mean?
Just joking. I heard there was a big game on Thursday.
Oh, we'll get to that, man. You guys are always stepping on my leads. Jordan, hello. This is Jordan Hansgen, by the way. He's next to me. He was here last week as well. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. It seems like I'm back to the... I guess big reason why we may be recording on Monday again is I'm back to the Monday through Friday schedule.
Yeah.
That's true.
There was a lot of playoffs. Saturdays were big for us for a while there, but now we're kind of in the transition mode, switching back
for a couple
over.
weeks.
Yeah.
So as you alluded to, Matt, I was 8 seconds away from merely, celebrating a Browns win over the Steelers. I'm like sitting on the couch, half just going to take a shower before bed, and holy crap, I'd never seen anything like that before. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. First of all,
I don't think many people could believe what they were seeing. I mean, even the announcers I heard afterwards were like, "I've never seen anything like that."
No.
I was trying to when I saw it, I was trying to think about what were the worst player-on-player incidents that I've seen, and I thought this might be one of the worst things I've seen. I couldn't really think of one at the time. I couldn't think of one worse. I mean, of course, there was stuff like player-fan interactions that were really bad, like the Malice at the Palace, Milbury going into the crowd and way back when in hockey.
There was a big fight with bats one time in the MLB, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think it was Roseboro, catcher. He got a pitch inside and was afraid that they were trying to hit him, so he turned and started hitting the other catcher with the bat.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean, yes. So
I can't remember if Roseboro was the catcher or that guy was getting hit, or the catcher who turned and was hitting.
Well, I think the reaction of people want him banned from the league. I think that's a little bit.
That's a little harsh.
That's harsh. I think that in the heat of the moment, he did something very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And he should be punished accordingly. He'll probably get... I think this suspension will bleed into next year, and it will probably be a full year. Full 16 games.
I don't think it will.
Yeah,
I think it'll end after the 6 games and the playoffs, if they get into the playoffs. For the simple reason is, I don't even think you could see Rudolph when he was swinging that helmet. He was behind the player. He just happened to hit him, number one. Number two, Rudolph started the fight. Yeah. He reached underneath the helmet and was grabbing Garrett's face and trying to piss the helmet off. Garrett said, all right, let's do that. Not to say that Garrett should have been, not to say that Garrett was completely, an angel in his act. He certainly deserves the 6-game suspension for swinging the helmet to begin with.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to do that, then I think you guys suspend Pouncey longer, because he's down there kicking the guy in the head while he's on the ground.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Headshots. You're going to say that because he hit the quarterback in the head with the helmet, then you got to give Pouncey the same amount because of him kicking the guy when he's down. So, I mean, and you talk about, I think the worst incident I saw was actually Hainsworth. When he stepped on the guy's face after he ripped the helmet off, and the guy was down on the ground.
Because that's he knew.
Right.
He knew
the helmet was off. He ripped it off. Then
it was
also,
from what I remember from that play, is it wasn't like a heat of the moment thing where he was just in a rage. Myles Garrett was clearly just in an out of character rage.
We had 2 guys at him. He's just trying to swing it out.
And Hainsworth, from what I remember, he looked down, saw the guy's helmet was off, and made the conscious decision, I'm going to stomp on this guy's head. And I guess that makes it worse because it's more premeditated, whereas Garrett's thing was, this guy's been trying to rip my helmet off and he's trying to start something with me, and I'm so pissed off that I'm just gonna, fling my helmet and hit him. And
you could see he was done. It was over. He was getting pushed off by DeCastro, and it was over. And then Rudolph comes around, and he's clearly irate. He's coming right after Garrett. And now put myself in that position if two guys, I don't care who they are backing me off, and a third guy's coming at me, and I just so happen to have something in my hand. I'm going to swing it at one of those guys. You know what I mean? Granted, I'm not a professional, but I'm not in a heat of the moment situation. I'm not in an aggressive,
Your adrenaline pumping at full splash.
Yeah.
And don't forget, I'm not even sure he was swinging at Rudolph. I think he was swinging at Pouncey, who was swinging at him, and he just. I don't even think he realized. Still remember he had the helmet in his hand and was just swinging, trying to get people away.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about
I think
that.
he's going to have his appeal Wednesday. I think it'll be the rest of the season, and that'll be it.
Yeah, and then that would be a long suspension, wouldn't it? Even some of the past incidences we talked about.
Well, the Hainsworth deal I talked about, where he got up, looked at the guy with his helmet off, and stomped on him, and the guy almost lost his eye. It's not like
his
there
face
was no
is
injury.
Permanently. He has a scar on his
or
face.
something like that.
Yeah.
And he got 4 games for that.
But it's a different time, right? Like
it is a different time.
So now the league has this big. The league has been facing concussion suits for years.
Right.
So now their entire goal is to protect
the quarterback. That's it, though.
the quarterback.
If he swung that and hit Pouncey, he would have got 4 games, and that's it. And I think that's ridiculous.
I think they're trying to make. I think they're trying to make a statement for head injuries. And it's them saving their own neck. And I'm not saying that he maybe deserves a 16 game or whatever suspension, but they're gonna lay the hammer down. Even though I will say this for Myles Garrett, he's handled everything since the incident very well. And I think that the league will take that into account, and maybe they will just do it. He'll be playing on opening day next year.
That was one of the most shocking things, is because he's done that because he seems like a decent individual. You know what I mean? Even though he did get a lot of personal fouls earlier in the year, he seemed to clean that up. And when you hear him talk, very soft spoken dude, he seems to like
the mitigating evidence for him is fascinating. Where they're like, he's a poet.
And that's why it's totally shocking.
And here's the other thing.
It's strange that it's him that did it.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, here's the other thing about this. Why I think it'll end at 6 games. This is the first incident of any kind with him. It took them 14 with Burfict to suspend him for 10 games this year.
Burfict was mad. Burfict was mad. He's like, you give me a full year, and this guy is out here trying to kill people.
That's what Burfict's done in his entire career, is try and kill people. And they've done nothing but slap him on the fingers until this year. I don't think they're going to give him a 1 year for a out of character.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's a statement they need to make for player safety. Yes, it did endanger him, but it's just the swinging of the helmet. That you cannot happen again.
Right. Crazy, yeah.
Another incident is, who was the guy that, the hockey player that whacked the guy in the back of the head?
Todd Bertuzzi. That was my comparison. That was very, when I was watching it, I was like, that's the worst thing I've seen a player do since the Todd Bertuzzi thing.
Because that guy was just skating away from him, wasn't
it? The Todd Bertuzzi thing was another, it was kind of just an act of, blind rage.
Right.
And he just, he took a swing at this guy, and he ended up, nearly paralyzing the guy. He broke his neck.
Right.
Punching.
Well, I don't know if he broke his neck from the punch or if he broke his neck when he came
hit
down
the ice,
head first and snapped his neck back.
But it was such a dangerous play, and it created, a really bad injury. Another thing that kind of helps Garrett in his appeal process and whatever is that Rudolph turned out okay.
Right.
Because it would have looked ugly if Rudolph's bleeding on the ground, and it would.
And I did see it, interestingly,
crazy.
that Rudolph is going to get fined.
He will.
That's one of the things I was mad about.
He's certainly the instigator of that whole thing.
I think he should face a 1-game suspension, but I don't think he's going. He
won't. He's a quarterback. Yeah. They don't do anything to quarterbacks. He could have got up there and swung the helmet at Garrett and maybe
because he was a big factor in that fight.
I mean, it was a useless little tackle, and he did it legally, and he rolled him on top of him. Garrett rolled Rudolph on top of himself, and it was just a little bit after the whistle. There was nothing illegal about it, no flag,
and he hit him right at the let go of the pass.
Mason was the one that was showing the frustration and the aggression and the rage after that.
That's because he was getting.
And that was the 3rd time he had been hit in the backfield in a row, and he took it out on Myles Garrett, unwise.
He should have took it out on his offensive line.
And he got his helmet ripped off. He should have walked away right after that and let Garrett take the whatever suspension he would get from that move. But no, he charged after him once again, and it took out helmet on the head. I can't believe that happened. That was so wild.
It's crazy.
I was like, oh my gosh. I was 8 seconds away from just going, yay, Browns win.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't even talked about the fact that they won the game.
Right.
That the Browns got a win over
And
the
they
Steelers.
dominated the Steelers.
Yeah, except for that one big series where
It
the
was
defense just
two-
forgot how to play legally.
Yeah.
2 really dominating performances by the Browns defense in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, like Allen couldn't do anything against him. I mean, Mason Rudolph couldn't do anything against him.
Right.
2 quarterbacks that were drafted after Mayfield didn't look very good
Right.
when they played the Browns, and it was a really positive stretch for them.
Mm-hmm.
And now they will have to play the Jets. Or is
They
it
got
the
Dolphins
Jets?
next.
Dolphins
Dolphins
next.
next, yeah.
That's right, not the Jets. They play the Dolphins, who kind of frisky, kind of whatever, but. I mean, it's good. No game in the NFL is easy when you lose
And Ogunjobi's not playing
two
either.
good players on your line.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting what happens.
It makes
next
the
time.
Dolphins game much more interesting
Yeah.
and not as easy as
And then
it
they got
was
the Steelers
before,
the following week.
which is tough too. I mean, and that game's going to be fascinating to watch.
Mhm.
I'm hopefully that the Browns, I know that they were in the wrong ultimately. Well, Garrett was in the wrong ultimately in that game, but hopefully they come in with a chip in their shoulder when they see
Oh, yeah.
the inequality of Rudolph kind of slap on the wrist for instigating the incident and furthering the incident after it's seemingly over and only getting a fine out of it. Whereas Garrett, he can't do that. You can't swing your helmet at a guy with
Right.
That's assault. I mean, that's the first thing I thought was that's assault. I can't believe that was Garrett. And then I just flashed to see that picture we had when when Rudolph got his concussion a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That picture of him just getting his skull squished by the defender.
Which, incidentally, if you remember, the Ravens guy got almost absolutely nothing out of that. And he hit him square in the jaw, left his feet, and didn't even get flagged. It's kind of funny.
The league will
when
be
you think
more.
about
The
it.
league will definitely be more critical on plays that happen outside of football.
Well, no, absolutely,
yeah.
but it still goes back to they say they're trying to stop this or trying to stop that, but plays like that one where Rudolph got the concussion, that guy should have been suspended for 4 games because that was a ruthless hit. He left his feet, hit Rudolph square in the jaw. That wasn't in the face mask. That was square in the jaw, and
a lot of those in-game plays like that people get in trouble for, they're just so instantaneous and they're so centimeters from being legal and illegal sometimes that you can see why it's hard to crack down on that. It's hard to, player safety issues. Those, but Myles Garrett gave them a perfect illustration of what they could throw the book at, big time.
It's normally a quarterback ducks or a quarterback, is like thinking about sliding, doesn't, and then the players are like, "What do you want me to do?" The guy's running; he's trying to get
right.
like extra yards, and I mean that's just the way it is. The other thing I wanted to talk about with the Browns was I thought Mayfield handled it excellent.
Yeah,
And I thought, I mean, he's in such a tough spot because you want to defend your teammate, but I thought he handled that issue very well. He looked like a leader in that moment.
he did.
Freddie Kitchens not as good, but because he wouldn't commit to anything. He wouldn't say anything either way.
Yeah,
He just wouldn't say anything. I mean, he's in a tough spot. What are you supposed to say?
Yeah.
But I thought what Baker said is exactly how you kind of toe the line between saying that's not helpful, what he did was wrong, but also saying, our team's gotta, rally around this. And I thought that was the best way to do it. And I'd be more confident in him and the Browns in that respect.
Right. I found it funny that all year long, every time Baker Mayfield did something, people were like, "Oh, he needs to grow up. He needs to keep quiet and do all this and that." And then he comes out, and I thought was the most. It seemed like he's been a veteran of 20 years in the NFL, And I heard people saying, "Oh, I can't believe he said that. His teammates are going to ridicule him and do this." I'm like, "What do you want him to do?" If he would have said something the exact opposite, if Garrett gets this, then they
Rudolph was asking for it,
right? Then they would have said, "Oh, he needs to grow up." So the people with the big name professionals and ESPN and NFL Network, make up your mind.
Oh, that drives me nuts. I watched it that night and the day after, and just seeing them almost near tears decrying the situation. That always drives me crazy when the announcers and the analysts get all sanctimonious about stuff like that happen. God, they love
What
it.
did the one guy, Adam Schefter, the ESPN insider, just posted? Assault. Period. And it's like, all right, guys, let's all relax here. I mean, it's a sport.
That was
a bad play, but
crazy moment,
yeah.
man. I've never seen any. Well, now that I think of it, I have seen a couple of things like it.
Yeah.
But
I can't remember who it was. I remember a guy skating across the ice and another guy taking his stick and right across the throat. Just
Old time hockey's got stuff like this.
I saw it was a Marty McSorley driving by and just taking the end of his stick and spearing the guy right in the solar plexus, knocking him out.
And there you go. That you have something in your hands that can be used as a weapon pretty easily in the game of hockey. Football is different. Everybody's helmeted, and you don't have a weapon in your hands. This situation changed, and I would, he should have just dropped the damn helmet. If he would have dropped the helmet after he took it off, boom,
and
this
then
is done with.
Swung at him or something. It would have been like a game or two.
Yes.
Or maybe whatever pounce he got, it would have been like 3 for punching. Yeah. But
he was cornered, and he did react. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. By the way, Browns won that game 21-7.
Yeah.
So after all that,
they're right in the playoff picture now.
We'll see. You got the Dolphins.
Still got a lot of teams to jump, but I mean they're there and they can start realistically. They can start thinking about playing meaningful games.
They're 2-0 in the division.
2-0 in the division. One team in the division looks quite good.
Yeah,
but
who has already lost to the Browns once?
Who's already lost to the Browns once, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, well, not as crazy now because the Browns have beaten some decent teams.
Speaking of the Dolphins, the Bills finally got up back on their feet last week. It seems.
Yeah, their offense showed up. I mean, the defense was. I mean, the Dolphins. Yeah, the defense gave up 20. It was kind of some weird plays. It was really the special teams that was pretty bad. The Dolphins had a kickoff return touchdown. Dolphins got an onside kick. The Bills were like 15 yards off the line, so the Dolphins kicker just kicked it to himself and got the ball 10 yards down the field. I think the Bills were lined up on the wrong yard line. I think you want to be 10 yards, but they were 15 yards away, and the Dolphins kicker just kicked the ball and it slow rolled back into his hands. But the Bills offense, I think they scored on 6 of their first 7 possessions. Their offense was playing fantastic, and the big reason why was Josh Allen. Josh Allen really stepped up after a pretty dismal Browns game. And a lot of people were questioning him this week. People were saying he's just like Tyrod Taylor, the quarterback that they had before, and they made the coach so mad that he walked out of the press conference. And this was a really nice response by the Bills offense that they played a team that they were supposed to beat, but they did it in a way that they were supposed to beat them this time. The last time they played Miami, it was kind of a tough game for the Bills, and the Bills kind of had to hold on at the end to really pull away from Miami. And this time it was kind of the way a good team should beat a team that like Miami that's not really trying to win. Allen had 4 touchdowns, not 300 yards, but he had 50 rushing and a rushing touchdown. So all around great performance by him. And they start to face tough tests. Now they have the Broncos, and then they have this tough stretch of Dallas, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and New England. So we'll learn a lot more about the Bills over the next.
Fitzpatrick, 32 for 45, 323. That worries me.
Fitzy can play. Fitzy's
but you got to remember too. That's also the first time Fitzpatrick's not thrown an interception in 3 years.
Yeah,
is that right?
So. Yeah, and I think he only had 1 pass that could have been picked. He was pretty good. They've been better than they were earlier in the year. They are not the worst team in the NFL. Yeah, the Dolphins. Yes.
Well, so that's going to be interesting next Sunday.
They can't really run the ball though. they don't have a run game.
I'm beginning to think they knew something.
What do you mean?
Well, Tua got hurt, so he's probably not going to be high on the draft stock. So maybe we might as well go out and win some games. Get them for less money.
Someone should tell the Bengals.
The Bengals are just horrible.
So let's see. That was NFL. Anything else stick out to you on Sunday?
Nothing major.
Baltimore was the big story. I think that they
roughed up
crushed
the Texans
another
41-7.
pretty good team, and they just destroyed them.
41-7, gee.
Yeah. I think Lamar Jackson might be the MVP favorite now because he's beaten Wilson and Watson, who are the two other MVP options. Unless somebody comes on late in the year. I don't know who it could be, but there's always somebody that makes a late push.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the other marquee game was New England beating Philadelphia. But
barely.
I mean, that's like the same. That's the way New England's been all year. Is that their offense kind of stinks, but their defense is amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's gonna last though. I don't think that works in the playoffs. I think you're gonna have to score to keep up with some of the teams in the AFC. Like, I don't think they're. I'd like to see what their defense looks like against Pat Mahomes because they didn't look very good against Jackson, and Pat Mahomes
I'd like
is
to see
better.
what Pat Mahomes is going to look like once he's 100% healthy. He's been terrible since he's been back. He's not been very good.
No, he hasn't. He's definitely like a 70% version.
He's looking
of Pat
like
Mahomes.
he's looking like the poor man's Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of the Pat Mahomes.
What was going on in tonight's game? Is anybody following it?
The Chiefs were winning the last time we
I think
were.
by a touchdown.
Yeah, it was 24-17 against a Chargers team that if they lose, they're done. So
And the Chargers had the ball and were driving, so it'll be interesting to see.
yeah, so the Chiefs have not been as impressive, but I don't think the Patriots will beat either that or the best teams in the NFC the way that they're playing. Their offense needs to find a way to score. Brady had no touch. That was the first time I think in Brady's career that he had 0 touchdown passes, but the Patriots threw a touchdown pass.
Is that right?
Yeah, Edelman was the lone touchdown pass for the Patriots in that game.
Interesting. They'll figure something out before the end of the year.
And on that, Rivers threw a pass into the end zone with 20 seconds left, trailing 24-17, and got picked off for the 4th time.
Oh, man. Yikes.
So
It's a shame for him.
Chiefs held on to win
I think he's destined for
24-17.
Dan Marino career where he has this. I mean, not as nearly as good as Dan Marino, but he's gonna. Yeah, not nearly as good, but he's gonna be one of the top quarterbacks with the most games started without winning a Super Bowl. So it's just a shame.
He might not even make it to one.
No, he won't make it to
Marino
Marino either. But he was. I saw a stat on ESPN that he was one of the top 3 already of the 3 guys that I think it was Marino. I forget who the other one was.
Oh, Kelly.
No, Kelly didn't play that long in the league. He was in the USFL for a while. Yeah.
Marino, probably Fran Tarkin has got to be up there.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just like that's not a list you want to be on.
No.
And
but see,
the fact that it's kind of funny how him and Eli Manning are tied because Eli Manning demanded the trade out of San Diego, and Eli Manning won twice, and Philip Rivers, I think you could argue, had a better career than Eli Manning. Stats
numbers wise,
he might be a better quarterback than Eli Manning.
I think that's one of those stats that's really you look at and you just kind of throw it away because
it doesn't diminish anything.
In football,
Dan
one
Marino
player cannot get you to, nor can it win a Super Bowl. Dan Marino got the Miami Dolphins to the Super Bowl, and then they got absolutely lambasted by the Redskins, or was it the 49ers? It was 49ers. It was Joe Montana because it was him, and he had 2 receivers. They had no running game. The offensive line wasn't very good. The defensive wasn't very good. For them to even be in that Super Bowl was astonishing, in my opinion. And then they never did upgrade any of it. And
if only those pesky Bills weren't around to take that AFC spot.
Got him to the playoffs every year and just couldn't get him. Didn't have enough to get him through.
Yeah, it's just I was just thinking.
Just like Kelly, he had a good. Kelly, if Marino would have been on those Bills teams, I think they would have won at least 1 Super Bowl.
Probably, yeah. He was definitely better than Kelly
because he would have had the running back, the defense, the offensive line. I wouldn't. He was better than Kelly. I don't think the gap's as big as most people would make it, but.
So that's NFL. College football. Penn State won a big one over Indiana on Saturday. That was 34-27. Another decent game for Journey Brown. By decent, I mean very good. He had 100 yards on 20-some rushes.
Yeah, another touchdown.
You know what? I really enjoy watching him just play. I never really focused on like one player as much as I have been with the Penn State thing, and just watching him in between plays, and watching him what he does afterwards, watching him. The communication with the line, with his quarterback, congratulating people after scores, of him dealing with the line. You see him congratulating each and every lineman after he scores that little, martial arts battle he does with the one lineman. It reminds, this is the stuff that we saw when he was here, in Meadville playing. The being such a team player, the relationship he has with his blockers and stuff like that, and just how well liked he is. It's really cool seeing that on that level in that stadium with all those people and all those cameras and all those eyes on him, seeing what a quality person he is, along with, a pretty fantastic athlete. Did anybody watch that game?
I caught some of it. And the thing that stands out to me, and I said it when they were talking about how they were going to run the 4 running backs and give them each a little thing. And I said at some point during the season, he's going to make it very hard for them not to play him.
Yeah.
And he's doing it right now because the one running back got hurt. Kane
got hurt.
The other one, number 5, who I believe is a running back.
No, 5 is that Deontay Johnson or something? The receiver, I think.
Oh, yeah. They moved him into the secondary because one of their secondary guys got hurt. So they moved that guy into the secondary because, which I think shows, because Journey was a heck of a defensive back and has great speed.
Yeah.
They could have said, "Hey, Journey, we need you to go to defense, and for this game or whatnot," and they're like, "No, we need you here.
Yeah.
We're gonna move him over there."
Oh, and picking up blitzes. I mean, he's doing a lot of little things right. It seems, and popping big plays once in a while.
And that's it. I don't think there's anyone out. He's one of those guys on that team, and there's probably a couple other guys. I don't want to see anyone else because it's Division I Penn State. They've got guys. Their third string running back would be starting for
90% of the colleges.
Right.
Yeah.
And but when he hits a hole, and you saw it last week against Minnesota, that 45-yard run, he hit the hole, saw it, cut left, made 2 guys, broke one tackle, made the other guy miss, and then was gone. Nobody could catch him. And then in his touchdown run, I think it was 35, 40 yards.
Yeah, 35, I think.
And against Indiana, he hit that. He went right up the middle, and as soon as he gets past that first line, if you're not in position to tackle him after he gets through that first line of defense, you're not catching him.
Nope. Nope. And and he did a pretty clever thing in that run too, where he kind of used the back judge as a screen almost.
Yeah,
for
that was awesome too. And that's the vision that he's obviously getting. Where now, instead of paying attention to where the defense, not just paying attention to the defenders and his own blockers, but the referees and linemen and everyone, judges out on the field, that, well, how can I use that guy?
Yeah, and he beyond that, beyond the big runs that we're noticing, he's also had a couple good first down runs, 7-yard runs where he was breaking some tackles and dragging some guys along with him and making people miss. He was doing a lot of stuff that wasn't as big as the 35-yard.
Right.
He's doing good, and Sean Clifford ran the ball well, which is something they needed because they weren't. It didn't seem like the passing game was doing as well as it could, and I got to say that the defense. It seems like the defense was the thing that a lot of people were talking about at Penn State early in the season, that they're going to be led by this defensive unit, and this is the second week in a row where they got kind of touched up by another team's passing unit. Last week in the loss against Minnesota, and then this week against Indiana, guy threw 371 yards against Penn State. Made some big passes and kept the Hoosiers in the game. And they were kind of lucky to pop in that last drive. Penn State was kind of lucky to finish off that last drive in the fourth quarter. It was 16 plays, and it was kind of a crazy long drive that they scored a final touchdown to get in the end. The defense is it needs to step up, especially with Ohio State this week. I mean, Ohio State is really going to expose them if they got a weakness in that secondary or on defense. And they don't. I think they're Ohio State's like an 18-point favorite going into this one or something like that.
I think it's in double figures already.
Yeah, so not a lot of people are thinking that Penn State's going to have a big game this Saturday, that it's going to be Ohio State by a landslide.
I mean, Ohio State beat Rutgers 56-21, and they didn't cover the spread by 17 points. The spread was 52. And Ohio State
Oh,
beat them by
man.
35 and they didn't cover.
Oh, jeez. That's quite
So,
a
I mean, it's just Ohio State's been crushing everybody. But on the other side, Ohio State hasn't played a team as good as Penn State yet.
And Penn State plays Ohio State very well. They beat them a few years ago, and they were close games the last couple times, surprisingly close games. And Penn State, even though there has been some issues in certain parts of the field, they are having a very good year. They're 9-1, and you see a lot of panic after that Minnesota loss last week about the direction of the team, about the coaching, and about some of the injured players. But this is a team that was expected to do well last year, and have kind of showed up this year and have I think exceeded expectations, at least for any objective observer.
I mean, they win this game and they're on the inside track to make the playoff.
Yeah,
they're right back where they would be if they didn't lose to Minnesota.
And Minnesota just lost to Iowa too, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the Minnesota losing to Iowa. I guess hurts.
They have
rep.
They have what that loss to Minnesota did was if Penn State has to win out.
Yeah,
if they win out, they can still make the playoff.
Yeah, the Big Ten champion will be in the playoff. Though that's the way I see it. Unless chaos happens where Minnesota loses another game they shouldn't, Penn State loses another game they shouldn't, and Ohio State loses twice or something. That's the only way.
Well, if the Big Ten champion has 2 losses, they
won't get it. But I mean, that's probably not going to happen. One of those 3 teams will.
You would think.
I think the best chance though is either Ohio State running the table or Penn State running the table from here.
Right, because they would beat Ohio State and then beat Minnesota. Because
Minnesota lost all the respect, I think, from the playoff committee with their loss to Iowa.
And Minnesota's in the other. Are they in the other division?
They're in the other side, so they're going to get their shot. Well, I don't know what Iowa's record is, but regardless.
Well, I say because if Penn State wins out and Minnesota wins out of their division, then they would have to beat Ohio State, and then
it could help Penn State if they get a rematch
against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Speaking of college football, explain Wake Forest's offense to me. I watched a little bit of that game.
So I guess it's kind of like a little bit of a shell of what Wake Forest was earlier in the year because their top 2 receivers were out, and one guy was leading all Power 5 receivers in yards and touchdowns. So he was having an amazing year. He's one of the finalists for the receiver award, and he hurt his shoulder the week before. So Wake was kind of this weird where they were trying to be conservative. This is the first time they huddled up the entire season, or actually in years. First time they've ever huddled.
It just looked like the timing was like scrimmage.
Yeah, everything was off for them. I was watching a little bit of it, and everything was just clearly off. And when you play a team like Clemson, they're going to destroy you for that. I was curious. I'm curious with what drew your attention.
Well, just the fact that between the snap of the football and the actual guy the running back trying to hit the hole, you could take a commercial break in between.
That's their niche thing. Is everyone's always stunned by how long their read options take.
Yeah. And
their idea is that they're going to make the defense commit one way or the other to either the running back or the quarterback. And they do a pretty good job with it usually. I mean, of course, Clemson has more team speed than everybody, so there's really nothing they can do. And Clemson, for some reason, they love playing Wake Forest. I mean, obviously why, but Dabo Sweeney says, this is the team I watched the most film on this year. And I'm like, why? Leave us alone. We got the 7-2, but he's like, yeah, I just watch a lot of these guys. And it's like, come on, Dabo. Leave us alone. Let's relax. You can tone it down a little bit on that. Watch more Bama film or LSU or something.
That was pretty wild.
That's just the case where the film he's watched of North Carolina or
that's what he said. He said all of our opponents also play Wake, and we kind of run something. We run similar spread offense to Wake, so we get to see what other teams do against Wake. But he's like, I watch a lot of Wake Forest, and I was like, okay, we're toast regardless. We were toast to going in without our top personnel, but we're even more toast because this guy knows everything about us. But
And you could see them waiting for something to transpire in that run game. Clemson was just in the backfield, just swallowing up everybody.
I was impressed. We did better than we did last year.
Is that right?
Yeah, because we lost 63-3 last year. So building blocks. I mean, that it just says a lot. I think it says a lot about Clemson that they beat a 7-2 team that bad. I mean, 7-2, Wake 7-2 is not as good as, say, a Penn State 7-2 is, but it's still. I mean, it's a 7-2 in the ACC.
Yeah,
right. And Clemson destroyed them. And they've been destroying everybody. I don't think they've played a close game since that UNC game back in October. So they look like a well-oiled machine. They're probably I think they're the favorite to win the title. I still think they're getting healthy. Their offense is starting to roll. I think they're the defending champs. They're defending champs. Like beat them until somebody beats them. I'm gonna pick Clemson.
And I also think they have the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no reason not to. He struggled at the beginning of the year, but I think it's everybody. Clemson is everybody's Super Bowl.
Didn't he have a high ankle sprain that he was playing through early on or something?
Yeah,
he just didn't look right for the first 5-6 games, 5 games at least.
It looks like we're gonna have another good. It looks like the playoff this year is going to be better than last year.
Yeah,
because last year it seemed like it was Bama, Clemson, and then the other two teams weren't as good.
Right. This
time it seems that Ohio State looks really good. I think Penn State is still very good. I think that they. Minnesota's a weird game. That was Minnesota's biggest game in their program's history.
Right.
Beating Penn State that day. So it was just one of those weird games that college football gets you.
And then they came out and
LSU is fascinating to watch because this is the first time I think they've ever had a good offense. And Clemson still looks like the juggernaut they are.
Remember when they had Russell? Russell, who was going to change the way the NFL was played.
Yeah, right. But I think college football will be fun this year. The playoff last year I think was Notre Dame and I think Oklahoma, and Oklahoma wasn't that good. They had Kyler Murray, but they weren't as impressive as what they were before.
Yeah.
Speaking of college football playoffs, Division II, Slippery Rock gets in. They're number 1 seed. They got a bye in the first round, which starts Saturday. I believe they're going to face the winner of Shepherd and Indiana, PA, in the following round. But that's good for them. It's good for Conneaut area graduate Henry Litwin. He scored twice in Slippery Rock season, regular season the PSAC championship game against Kutztown. Slippery Rock won that one 37-35. That seems like a pretty wild game. So they won the PSAC championship. They get into the postseason. I think with the way they're playing, with the way that Roland Rivers is throwing the ball, I think they got a good shot to make some noise at the Western Pennsylvania in the Division II playoffs. I don't know any of these other teams, to be honest. Kutztown obviously got in. Westchester's in from the PSAC. That's really all I know.
Probably 5 from the PSAC, and then
I think I count 4 or 5. Yeah, 5. Oh, Shepherd is in PSAC as well. Right. I forgot about that.
So that works it's like regional, right? Mm-hmm. Each bracket out of D2 is regional.
Yeah.
I know there's one of my high school quarterback is playing down in Texas.
Oh, really?
Still, yeah.
Wow.
Still, I guess he's like a 5th year or whatever grad student or something, but he's on one of the top teams in D2 as well. So I think that'd be wild to see if Slippery Rock got to really far. They're the 1 seed, so they should. I mean, they're on paper.
On paper, they should get out of the region, and then
so that'll be cool to see.
To get out of the region, will get to the quarterfinals, I think.
Division III playoffs, the normal teams, Mount Union 10-0, they're in there. I think NCAC, I only saw one NCAC team in there, didn't they?
Probably.
Where was it? Wabash.
Wabash?
They're at North Central Illinois on Saturday, 1 p.m. Division III. But the Allegheny ended up ending their season with a win, so that's 4 of their last 5. So that's
4-6 after starting 0-5.
Yeah, that's something else. They beat Oberlin 31-20. So that's I think a promising start to a promising end to the start of Coach Nagy.
And they started out 0-5. And they could have finished 5-0 because the game against DePaul.
Oh, that's right.
DePaul missed the extra point, was up 6-0. A bad snap on the ensuing drive on the punt made it 8-0. And then Allegheny scored late and couldn't get the 2-point conversion to tie it up. So.
That's just good coaching. I think not necessarily that play, but like being able to take a 0-5 team and get them to improve that much in such a short period of time. That's a really good sign for where the program's heading.
I'll be interested to see what they can do next year because obviously Alex Victor will be gone, but Naz Greer is back.
And he looked very good in the games that I saw. I thought he was very efficient.
I think he had, 4 300-yard games this year plus the one he had last year. He got 5 300-yard games in, 11 starts, 10 starts.
What year was he?
I think he's a junior.
He's only a junior?
Yeah. Or he might only be a sophomore. He's one of the two.
I think he's a junior. I
think so, yeah. But he'll be back next year. The offensive line from the beginning of the year to the end of the year was night and day. They were opening up holes for any running back who stepped into the backfield.
Even if it was a linebacker from the defense.
I know,
tight end.
So, I mean, that
They got really interesting as the season went on, getting all those different guys to run the ball and doing different things with it. They were I'm enthusiastic about the years to come with that program. Speaking of area football, Edinburgh ended its season with a 20-7 loss to a pretty good Bloomsburg team. They ended the season at 3-8. They're a good team. They were just decimated by injuries this year. There were so many people on the bench that could be playing, and they were down to their third string quarterback for much of the season.
Yeah.
So they
it's kind of funny. 5 games into the season, it looked like Edinburgh was going to have the more successful year. At the end of the season, it was Allegheny.
Yeah.
We should go by win-loss record.
Of the teams that we look at, Grove City, they finished up their regular season with a 63-0 win over Teal. The offense had 196 rushing yards in the day. Luke Sherrod on the line. Meadville grad Luke Sherrod. Curtis Fryermuth, Cochran graduate linebacker for Grove City College. He had 3 tackles, 1 for a loss. They're going to they got one more game left on the season. They're going to face, next Saturday, they're going to face RPI in the, what's called the James Lina Bowl of the Eastern College Athletic Conference Division III James Lina Bowl.
That's a team that Allegheny plays.
Got smoked by
40, yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're really good. And I think they were ranked when Allegheny.
Yeah, so they must have stumbled a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're
to miss out on the tournament.
Must have.
RPI. We don't have a record for them somewhere. 6-4. So yeah, they ended up taking some hits.
And I think they played a much tougher schedule than Grove City played.
Yeah, because Grove City will come in with a better record, but they didn't share any opponents this year other than Grove City scrimmaged Allegheny. I don't know how that went. And, RPI beat Allegheny, I think 45-27 or something like that, or 21. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. It
was kind of one-sided, but it looks like Allegheny scored on them. Who knows? Grove City surprised a lot of people this year, so maybe they could pull something out here, end the season on a high note, Let's see. College basketball's going. You got to see Allegheny do a lot of playing lately.
Yeah, there's a lot of Allegheny basketball. I guess we'll start with the women's team. Their first game was very exciting. It was really nip and tuck. And who got the final goal? Who got the final basket? Brooke Smith got a game-winning layup in the closing seconds. It was a weird play. Like who was it? Goucher. They tied it up.
Who's Goucher anyway?
I don't know. I think they're out of Maryland. But
never heard of them.
Yeah, so they tied it up, and Allegheny immediately went on a fast break. Didn't call timeout, nothing. Just went on a fast break, and Brooke Smith was sprinting down the side, and she got a wide open layup to to win it, buzzer beater style. And the next day they played against Grove City College, who had a really stingy press, and the Gators really struggled with that. So they
74-55 they lost.
Yeah, so they split their 2 games. And the men swept theirs pretty convincingly in both.
3-0 they're off to a 3-0
yeah,
start.
The men's team had some. They got a lot of talent, I think, this year. Jordan Rawls is still as steady as ever, still racking up, I think, 20 points a game.
He was
pretty
in
much.
North Coast Athletic Conference Player of the Week this week.
But the big thing, I think, was the arrival of Keno Holmes to add to a lot of their good young talent, a lot of their good young players. The second game, Keno Holmes had a huge game. He had, I think, 5 threes.
Over Waynesburg, 82-62.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they look pretty good. They shoot a lot. They shoot a lot of threes. They play pretty fast. That's kind of how they were last year. But I think this year they just have even more talent added to the mix, a lot deeper. Mm-hmm. And I think they're definitely moving up again this year.
It's all going to come down to what they could do against NCAC. NCAC's the rest of the NCAC is going to be a tough challenge. It's a tough league.
It is, and generally tougher than the teams they have for their tip-off form. Although Waynesburg, I think, is usually pretty decent. And who did they play in the first one?
Grove City. They beat Grove City 76-69 in the opener of and they also beat Bethany. So they're handling the pack pretty well.
Right. But Bethany's not normally up there, but Grove City and Waynesburg are usually pretty or tests. If you don't come out and play those teams very well, they're going to give you.
For what I've heard, though, like the Carnegie Mellon win is pretty telling, right? They're normally pretty good.
Carnegie Mellon is pretty good. Yeah. So that's I mean, and those are great, but I think that's what Coach Simmons and his players have their minds set on. I mean, they're getting these wins now, but I think what they're focusing on is getting their game to the point where they can start beating the elite teams in the North Coast.
Well, and they proved last year they could do that in that home game when they dedicated the gym to outgoing President Mullen.
Oh yeah.
And they were playing Worcester, was it?
Might have been. I can't remember.
And Worcester was the number 1 team in NCAC, and they went out there and just blew them off the court.
Yeah.
Now you add a couple extra talented guys to that roster because they didn't lose, I don't think, anything major.
What's his name? They lost one guy that had been a long-time starter for them, like Billy something. No, I can't remember.
Billy Urso.
Yeah.
His brother's the point guard now.
Brendan.
And they had the young kid who was a freshman last year.
Brian Roberts. Jr.
He's been hurt. He's there, but he didn't play any of the games.
Well, I'm saying.
So even getting him into the lineup
when he gets healthy, then
right. Holmes has been starting, true freshman.
And some other guys. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see once that nucleus is together, what they can do. Because, like I said, they proved last year they can, with some of those pieces that we're talking about now, who are being so impressive, weren't there last year.
What I think is very good is that they haven't changed anything that they like to do. So there's a lot of continuity in that. The new guys just kind of fill right in and play the same way that everybody is. So that's good recruiting, and that bodes well for being able to just seamlessly transition throughout the year.
Just out of curiosity, for the women's team, do they do that rotation where they take 5 people off, 5 people on? Okay. They were doing that for a while, and I always thought that was. It seemed like someone would hit a couple baskets, and then it would be time to make that switch, and you didn't really get any rhythm for some of them, for someone to really get into a rhythm and get a run going for the team. You know what I mean? Just to kind of
right.
Speaking of area college, Edinburgh is off to a 3-0 start. The Edinburgh men are off to a 3-0 start to the year. They just beat Notre Dame, Ohio earlier tonight, 70-66. That's good for them. Cambridge Spring graduate Turner Kurt. He's not scoring a ton, but he scored at key moments. He had the game winner in Edinburgh's 67-65 win over Roberts Wesleyan, and he had a clutch.
They were. Notre Dame was trailing by 13 with a minute something left, and they cut it down to 2 with like 30 seconds left. Then he scored a layup. It was his only bucket of the game, but it was a layup to kind of end their spurt, and then they closed it out at the free throw line.
Fouling, yeah. So that was kind of he's scoring when it matters, but so that's good for so they're off to a good. The women, I believe, the Edinburgh women are ranked right now. They're looking good. So it's the local area college basketball is looking pretty strong. Armani Foster is really tearing it up over at IUP. Let's see. He was just mentioning something. I think it was last Saturday. Where we at? Sunday. There we go. Foster 28 against Lemoyne in at IUP's 82-78 win. I think IUP's off to. I think they're going to have a good year as well. It's going to be fun watching him. LaShawn Lindsay's doing some good stuff for Slippery Rock.
The PSAC is going to be interesting this year too, because there's a lot of new guys coming in and guys getting more playing time, especially locally with you mentioned Lindsay is a freshman.
Yeah.
Foster getting more playing time. Edinburgh looks good. Those teams are starting to look good. It could be a very interesting run in the PSAC and the NCAC this year to see who's going to get out of there. It could be a slugfest.
That should be fun to follow this year. Moving up to Division I, Blue Devils are back on top of the AP men's poll. Yay! They're 4-0. Louisville's 4-0. I think they're second. Michigan State third. Kansas 4. On Friday night, I got to watch a little bit of the West Virginia Pitt game. I got to see Oscar DeShibwe with the former Kennedy Catholic standout. He scored 20 and 17, I think, and that was his second game of his college career. It's a pretty decent Pitt team, and I think Pitt was completely taken aback by the freshman and how advanced he already is in his game. That dude's a man for being, however old he is. Yeah. He's come out of the block ready to go.
I need West Virginia to be good. I think they're so fun. Press Virginia is great. Yeah. I love a team that presses the entire game and just never calls off the dogs.
Yeah, and did you mentioned Pitt. I think a lot of people came in with high expectations for them this year because they had such a good year under Capel's first year.
And they started with that win over who?
They've been struggling.
They lost to Nicholls State, which was really bad.
But they upset somebody like the first game of the season, didn't they?
They beat an ACC team. Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. But they got off to a good start. It was like, oh, here we go. Yeah. But then it's been downhill ever since.
They've been having shooting woes. I think the one article I read, they're early in the season shooting like 37% from the field. You're not going to win very many games. Nope. I don't care what.
Especially in the ACC, because the ACC is kind of they're the premier basketball conference, where literally every game is hard,
losable.
Yeah, especially when you're in the bottom. It's really hard to go up from the bottom to the top. I know, being Wake Forest, that like Pitt and Wake Forest were always like the teams at the bottom for a while now. Pitt used to be great, and now they've been at the bottom. It's hard to claw back up when you're constantly battling for recruits with the top teams.
Right.
Well, that's what West Virginia is trying to do this year. When they lost Sagaba Konate, another Kennedy Catholic standout, they went right downhill and they finished last in the ACC last year. And now they got Sagaba's replacement at Kennedy. Now he's the replacement at West Virginia, and he's starting to pick it up. And he's picking up. He's doing a great job in the early part of his career. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Hockey. Meadville lost tonight to Latrobe. Latrobe was 7-0. Meadville drops to 4-4 overall, 2-4. They're the growing pains continue in Class AA and the PIHL for Meadville, and I think it's gonna be a different second half for them. But it's right now it's but Jamie sounded a lot more positive about this loss than he did. What was it last week? When they lost to?
I think this team that they were playing against, he knew was tougher, and while they definitely got outshot and outplayed, he thought that this time the players didn't quit in the game, and he thought that was a positive. Like the effort was always there. They just ran into a really, really good team and a really hot team right now.
Baseball, Pirates introduced their new GM, Ben Charrington, I guess former Red Sox guy.
Yep, he was with them when they won in 2013. Little different financial
Yes, a little bit.
Bootstraps on this deal. Speaking of baseball, I read the story about the Steelers maybe being eliminated if the proposed minor league changes go through.
Like eliminated them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they might have to go independently or something like that if they want to keep them. But MLB's looking to streamline and get down to like 2 minor league teams per team.
Wow.
Because they want better facilities, better travel, better they want.
So
more.
how did they decide?
Well, I guess they made a list of the teams that they were talking about eliminating, and they weren't. And it got released. It got like leaked or something like this. Erie was one of the teams that was on it, according to this article, Evan Wordbury from MLive.com, he says it sounds like it might just be like an opening like negotiation tactic.
Right.
They give him the worst possible, the worst possible plan,
Right.
and they so that the other side of the negotiation comes back with something better, and so who knows. I don't know. That'd be a shame because it's fun, once or twice a summer to run up and go see a Seawolves game.
Yeah.
Minor league baseball is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think it's
affordable.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Not that far away.
Every seat is good.
You're
getting
fun.
a good view.
Park's great.
Yeah.
They do a nice job up there with everything. It would be a shame to lose that in this area.
Well, I think this is a pre-curtain. At some point, they got to start paying the minor leaguers more money.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Well, you eliminate 2 teams from each club. You take their money and give it to the other 2 teams to pay those players.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it comes down to.
But then you have less minor league players,
Right.
Which is kind of sad for players trying to achieve their
Sure.
dreams.
Yeah, it is.
But it is.
But there are independent leagues they can go play in, and if
Mm-hmm.
you play well enough. People forget J.D. Drew played in the independent league
Mm-hmm.
when he didn't sign.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. But it is pretty. Probably needlessly large, the minor league baseball system.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem to be a reason for
Well, I mean,
that many.
they have rookie, A-ball, short season A-ball, long season A-ball, AA, AAA.
Following prospects for like my team is exhausting.
Yeah. They could probably get by with 3 minor league teams or 3 minor league teams.
High school sports, we got announced. The only thing going on was they just announced the All-Stars in golf and in cross country. Where is that? Thank you. Let's see. We had several area athletes get named as runners of the year in their respective regions. Cochran, Noah Barnarding in Region 3. Let me look at the actual flag on this. Let's see. Where are we at here? Cochran's Noah Bernarding, Region 3 Runner of the Year, after he led his team to yet another District 10 championship. And where did they finish in states? 4th or something like that? I can't remember. Let's see. Patrick Stevens, after his 4th place finish at states, he was named Region Runner of the Year in Region 6. In girls cross country, Claire Oliver from Lakeview was the Region 1 Runner of the Year, and Mira Shannon was named the Runner of the Year in Region 3 girls from Cash, Mira Shannon, after another fantastic season for her. Boys golf, we had 2 players of the year. One was Alex Wiles of Conneaut. He was the Region 3 Player of the Year. And, is that it?
Brett Beef.
Brett Beef.
Beef,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
From Lakeview, Region 1 of the year. Yeah, Rowan from Prep was the Player of the Year in Region 6. But I don't know if this was done before. This is probably done before states, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Before, Ferry finished second at states. But he was on the Region 6 first team, obviously. But Rowan got the Region of the Year award. So congratulations to all those athletes. Noah Bernarding, by the way, just today signed to play at Division II California PA. So he's going to be a Vulcan. He's going to be running for them for cross country and track and field. They got a good runner there. Cal did. Who else we have signed this week? Caitlin Young from Sagertown signed up to play with Division I softball for
Bonaventure, right?
Yeah. It's Caitlin Young from Division I Lehigh University. She's going to play softball. Outstanding pitcher from Sagertown. Erica Peters, Patrick Stevens, and Laura DeArmond are all from Meadville High School. Signed letters of intent to play in the college sport. Peters will attend Allegheny and run cross country and track. Stevens is going to St. Bonaventure to run cross country, and DeArmond is going to play golf at Mercyhurst University. So that's pretty outstanding. You love to see these local kids get out there and take their game to the next level, get a good college education, experience things that not a lot of people get to experience on the field of competition on the college level. Let's see, what else we got? Anything else, guys, that you want to talk about? Pens? No. Hockey? No. NBA? Cleveland's.
I haven't really paid much
bad.
attention to those two things yet.
No.
It's still early for that. I
Yeah.
think.
I mean, football season just ended. High school football. The high school season just ended.
Yeah, we're kind of in a weird
And
transition.
I really,
today.
during my vacation, I didn't really pay one bit of attention to sports.
Yeah, when you get those days off, it's like, you know what? I think I'll watch TV or something.
I watched The Mandalorian.
Did you?
Yeah.
That was good.
Did you get Disney Plus?
Yeah. Well, I was already paying $8 for Hulu and $5
Oh,
for
did you
ESPN
get the
Plus.
bundle?
So I canceled them both and got the bundle for the same price and got ESPN, Hulu, and Disney for $12.
Really?
$13. So it was like
I might have to think about that because I don't have
The
Hulu.
Mandalorian.
It
was
is.
awesome.
It's worth it, I think. Just
I
for
like
the
watching his
Mandalorian,
old
to be honest.
the old Guardians of the Galaxy's cartoons that are on there. And
Oh, really?
some of the other stuff. Yeah, they got. I can't wait for Loki to come out and WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
It's another one of those things that I'm gonna like. There's gonna be so many options that I just stare at it and like scroll for most of the time.
Exactly.
That's like the classic Netflix problem. Is I sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch some Netflix, and then I end up scrolling for like 20 minutes and can't decide, can't pick what I want to watch.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, I think, is very cool. I actually think it's worth it. I don't want to be, a salesman for it, but I mean, The Mandalorian was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you have not seen it, you have to get it just to watch what happens at the end of episode 1.
Well, so it's a series.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a series, not a movie. It's a half hour.
It's got high quality actors in it.
Yeah.
I was looking at the cast list, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Carl
I mean,
Weathers
the
was in
main
it.
guy,
Yeah.
the guy that plays the Mandalorian is Pedro Pascal, who
Yeah.
I really like. He was in Game of Thrones, Narcos. He's like a really good actor, and really all you hear is his voice, like
Right.
tempered through like the mask.
Oh man, I don't
But
wanna-
he's very good, and like I don't know, I think he's an excellent actor to be able to like portray like emotions and stuff while just being a guy in a mask.
How much?
Yeah.
$12.99 a month for the bundle.
For all three of them, yeah.
And they're just going to be coming out with more shows. They're going
Right.
to have the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Yeah.
Well, if I already had Amazon Prime membership, does that help at all?
I think
Because
it's Hulu because it's Disney.
Was
It's
it?
Disney companies.
Okay,
Yeah.
doesn't? Oh wait, it's Twitch that owns, Amazon Prime owns Twitch. Not
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're combining ESPN, Hulu, and Disney stuff
Right.
just because
But
it's
it's also-
all Disney stuff.
But so you got Hulu, you got ESPN Plus, which gives you all that insider information on the ESPN magazine.
Insider information, and if you really like, I mean, sometimes ESPN Plus has like D2, like they have Edinburgh sometimes.
Yeah, and they have
And,
you can watch all those 30 for 30s and all that.
There's a lot of
But the best
ESPN,
thing-
weird ESPN content.
But the Disney
Do they
channel
play
has
Formula One on ESPN Plus?
I'm sure.
I might get that for Formula One. Actually,
Disney
even though the
has.
season's almost over.
It's not just Disney, and it has it has Disney stuff. So you can click on Disney, and you have like Dumbo, the princess movies, and all that, and
Oh, good.
other. Then they have Marvel, all
What
the
about-
Marvel stuff,
What about the Studio Ghibli films? They're all owned by Disney. Are they
all
on
the
there?
Pixar stuff, all the
Pixar, Nat
Star Wars,
Geographic, Marvel,
Nat
Star
Geographic.
Wars.
Yeah, there's
and
one on there.
Disney.
I didn't realize this was on there until after I'd already bought it. But they have a thing there, The World According to Jeff Goldblum, which he just takes inane objects and explains them to you.
Oh man.
I'm like, that is the most awesome thing ever.
I mean,
The fact that I like Nat Geographic has great stuff that I just had no clue what it was.
I know.
I'm already paying for Amazon Prime, paying for Netflix, and now if I get this thing, I mean, I might as well just get cable, you know?
Disney Plus has made me rethink my Netflix subscription.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm probably going to spend more time on this than I will on that. Netflix, I like
What more do
a
you
couple
need?
shows.
All you need is Disney Plus, and you got to keep Hulu for the Masked Singer. I mean, that's
What I need is
Masked Singer?
I need Disney Plus. I need Disney to buy Netflix and then add that to the bundle.
Well, if anybody could buy Netflix, it would be.
Yeah.
They could buy anything they want.
The whole
Yeah.
reason Disney started its own streaming channel is because they wanted to get all their stuff off Netflix.
Yeah, I know,
So
but
that
then they
makes
could
no
just buy
sense that-
Netflix when Netflix is
Why?
reeling.
Well, Netflix is more almost like about the original content that they
Right.
got now.
Now,
instead of
yeah.
it used to be the movies, but there's
I don't
hardly any
understand how
movies.
they make money. I still don't understand how they make money because all their shows are like high budget.
Yeah.
They still have the commercials, and they still.
Netflix doesn't have any commercials.
No, I haven't seen any. Well, they
I
have
watched-
ads
they
for
don't have-
their own shows.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, but they don't
they don't break into.
They don't
shows.
have ads on their platform.
No. I've never seen any.
Well, that might have to change if all these people were starting to bunch.
No, I'm
Yeah.
waiting for Netflix to have their big drop off, like economically. I think that it's coming because
they charge more.
they don't
for their
have the
subscription, too.
monopoly on the streaming thing
Anymore, yeah.
Now
Like,
it's
what is
now
Netflix?
they're
How much is
arguably
Netflix now?
the
I don't
third.
even know anymore.
How much
It's
do you pay
gone
for
up
Netflix
a
now?
few
I
times
think
since
it's
first started.
$5.99, maybe probably $6.99 now.
$6.99. Oh, I'm getting the HD thing where you get like 2 or 3 screens per time. So mine's like another 12 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So I can't remember what it is. Yeah. All right. I'm.
But yeah, The Mandalorian really.
It's really
I don't
good.
want to sign up for another damn service.
I haven't seen episode 2 yet, so that's probably how
I
I'm
did. I
gonna
watched
spend the
it.
rest of my night.
Watched it last night or Saturday night. It was so good.
All right. That should do it for this week, guys. Thank you for listening.
Disney salesmanship.
May
Yeah.
the force be with you.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll catch up next week, and we'll see if Pete actually buckled and got Disney Plus. But so we leave you with a cliffhanger. But for Matt and if you want to contact us, email us at sports@meevilletribune.com or hit us up on Twitter at @Tribune_sports. Correct?
Correct.
Correct. All right. So for Matt and for Jordan, this is Pete, and we appreciate you listening. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.